There was a record album that came out called The Story of Store. Come on, Jaw. Loosen up. Hello and welcome to my porch. My name is Roy. I am a home cook, an amateur baker, and I am here on this channel typically showing you recipes that have helped me to lose over 125 pounds, whether those recipes are mine or someone else's. But today, as you can see, I'm out on the porch. Nothing's turning yet, no fall colors to show you yet, but we'll be getting there very soon. Now, I was tagged by Kim over at A Girl and Her Phone, as usual, but I was really targeted by Jimmy, not Sandy, but Jimmy from Let's Get Fit with Sandy. He has added a question on here just for me, and we'll see how that goes. But he also did the other questions, so I can only imagine how difficult this is gonna be. Why not get into it? Number one, what is a moment in your life that changed you for the better? The way I met my partner, Paul, of almost 22 years now, was I was working at one of the casinos in Connecticut, Mohegan Sun, and I got home late. I worked like the later shift, the mid shift. Got home around 2, and I would usually go on the computer for a while and wind down. I was looking through some personal ads and spotted Paul's, but I was so tired I didn't want to be sitting there typing a big long email to get to know him, to connect with him. So I was about to shut down the website, and then I thought I might not ever find him again because there was no way to really, you just scrolled through pictures and I couldn't be sure that I would find him again. So I said, let me just send him a quick note. I think it was maybe 4 or 5 lines like, hi, how are you? I'm really tired, but I wanted to connect, blah, blah, blah. And then he wrote back. We communicated through email online for a few months before we actually met, and we spoke on the phone a few times as well. But that definitely changed my life for the better, was not going to sleep and sending him that quick note. Number 2, what is your favorite memory you shared with a friend as a kid? I don't really have a favorite, but this one stands out to me, so I guess we'll go with it. This friend of mine, James, and I, in the town we lived in Connecticut, we had like a housing authority that we were part of because we lived in low-income housing. They had a like a rec room, a rec space, and we decided that we were going to create a play, a musical that we were going to put on that was going to use records of the time, and we would lip sync to it. This was before I knew anything about drag or RuPaul's Drag Race. I used to still lip sync all the time. I seldom ever let anyone hear my actual singing voice. Nobody needs that. But we were going to put on a play. We were assembling everything. From what I recall, and knowing me, this is probably accurate, it had to do with like monsters, like Frankenstein, Dracula, the classic movie monsters. We never did put it on, but just doing all of that and trying to do some creative partnership thing and going through the songs and what song would fit in with the story. That would have to be one of my favorite memories. Yeah, I will go with that one. 3, what is the strangest combo of food that you like? The weirdest thing that I've eaten, and it's not even weird, I think it's just different, is I would eat lettuce sandwiches. And someone asked in the last tag if I meant lettuce as the bread. No, I mean lettuce between 2 pieces of bread, sometimes with mayo, sometimes just salt. That's probably the weirdest combo that I eat. And I don't even think that's weird. It's just kind of weird that it doesn't have lunch meat on it. I am considering possibly trying Sandy's orange juice and Cheerios just to see what all the fuss is about. But no, that's it, lettuce sandwich. What memory couldn't you think of at any time that makes you smile? The one that comes to mind almost immediately is my oldest niece, Jacqueline. When she was little, I used to babysit her sometimes, and we would play around a lot. One of the things, I don't know why she used to do it, but she used to scrunch up her nose and breathe in and out really fast, like, I don't know why. But one of the times that I was babysitting her, her parents had this giant soup pot, and and we were playing around. So I set her inside the soup pot, and she was sitting there doing her little cracking me up. And I have a picture of it somewhere. I'm absolutely sure I wouldn't be able to find it to insert a picture. And she'd probably kill me if I did. But that is probably one memory that I have that always makes me smile, if not outright laugh. What is the most scared you have been? As Paul will attest to, I am a scaredy cat in that if I turn around and he's standing there, I scream. If he comes up behind me and says something, I scream. There is an actress from England, Catherine Tate, who had her own show. And one of the characters that she had, he says that is me to a T, because the character would get scared at anything. She would go sit at her computer, look up and find a Post-it note on the computer and scream. Okay, I'm not that bad, but I am a bit skittish, as anyone who saw that video with the coyote hunting me in the background can tell. Anyway, that got way off topic, but, well, not off topic, but off the story. Okay, if the lighting looks a little different or the position of the camera is a little off, it's because this is the second time I'm editing a question. You'll see the other one coming up at number 6. And this one, I was actually editing the video and realized what I had chosen wasn't accurate. It was kind of, I mean, it was a scary moment, but not scary. And I've had some scary moments in my life. When I was younger, my father had kidnapped us once. He'd held us hostage at gunpoint once. I don't really remember those directly. I just remember the stories about them. But the one thing I do remember is when I was little, must have been about 7, and my sister Kelly, who had just recently been born, my mother went in to check on her, and came out screaming with my sister, who was blue. She was suffering from what they called at the time crib death, or SIDS, they call it now, I would think. And so she was screaming, ran out into the street to get help. They got an ambulance. My sister ended up being fine. But I remember that being one of the scariest moments, so much so that for years afterward, until I moved out of the house, periodically it would get into my head and I would have to go into my sister's room and check to make sure that she was breathing, until I was 18 at least and moved out of the house. So I would have to say that's probably the most scared I've ever been, because it definitely had a lasting impact on me. Seeing my mother panic like that, seeing my sister lifeless and blue. Thank God it all worked out. But yeah, I would have to say that's the most scared I've probably ever been. Okay, next question is an ironic one. Number 6. What is the one thing that aggravates you? And I went through all of the other questions, turned off the camera, brought it in, recharged the batteries, was about to upload the video content and said, let me check these questions again, make sure I got them all. And I had missed that one. So if my angle here looks a little off or different than in the question before and after this one, it's because I am inserting myself to fit in the order of the questions, and that is what aggravates me. It really bothers me when I make a mistake, when I overlook something. So, the question, what is the one thing that aggravates you, actually caused me some aggravation, not because of the question, but because I actually did the thing that aggravates me and didn't answer it because I looked right past it. So that is one of the biggest things, and Paul's always on me about it because I get very angry at myself, but it just aggravates me when I make silly little mistakes. Big mistakes, like if it's something I really shouldn't have known, I might get upset about it. But it aggravates me when it's some little thing that I just overlooked or just forgot about. And my memory is not great, so I do forget a lot. So, there you have it. The question that kind of answered itself. Anyway, on to the next one. What is the best memory of your grandparents? My paternal grandfather died when I was very young. My paternal grandmother was not the type to create fond memories, let's just put it that way. My maternal grandmother, I have the most memories with, because my maternal grandfather was actually murdered when I was 7 or 8. He was the governor of our reservation up in Maine. I do have some vague memories, but nothing really fond. So I have to go with my maternal grandmother, who outlived all the others. Again, going back to that rec center that I was talking about at the housing authority with the low-income housing where I lived, I used that space for, I want to say, my 21st birthday. And I did an Alice in Wonderland theme. Everyone had to come as one of the characters from Alice in Wonderland. And except for Alice, because I dressed up as a punk rock Alice. And again, I don't know if I could find pictures in time to include them here. I do have pictures of it. So one of the games that I played was like a let's make a deal type of game. And my grandmother participated, and she was just like, she was not usually the type to really let loose and be silly. But that day she was like, I don't remember I believe, if I remember correctly, I believe the prize, the gag prize she got was panties or something, hot pink panties. And it was just sheer silliness, craziness, and she just went along with it and had a really good time. And I think that would have to be one of my fondest memories of a grandparent. Told you it was unusual, but that's me. Let's see, what is the greatest memory of your siblings? Oh boy. If no siblings, cousin. See, and I can't pick one sibling because that will start a war. But one of my greatest memories, I love Halloween. I have that in common with my buddy Bree. I love Halloween, and I would always dress up. And one year I made costumes and did the makeup for my brother Dan and my sister Kelly. And I don't know, for some reason that's one of the greatest memories. It's just like, I think it was because it was something I love so much, and getting to include them. And Tom was off doing his own thing because he always liked to just be out with his friends and whatever. But I think that would have to be one of my greatest memories. Followed by the next one that comes to mind is years later when we were all at my sister Kelly's house for a party. We had a picture taken together. That would be a second one with all of them. What is your favorite thing to watch on TV or in real life? As much of a homebody as I am, and an introvert, it's probably not TV, although there are plenty of things I love to watch on TV. I think it would have to be videos until I can see them in real life, and then that is something else. But I love seeing videos of my nieces and nephews, and now my great nieces and great nephews. Until, like, if I could see them in person, that'd be even better. But I just love watching the little kids playing, and especially when they come to me. Like, I met my niece, my great niece, Isabella, about a year ago. I think it was about a year ago. But having her come up to me and just sit on my lap, having just met me, I just love kids. So I would have to go with watching kids playing, doing whatever, learning, figuring things out, or better yet, coming to me to give me a kiss or a hug. I would have to go with kids. And number 10, I'd love to say that this is the last question, but Jimmy is torturing me with an extra question just for me, so get ready. Number 10, what is one item from childhood you no longer have that you wish you did? The first thing that comes to mind, and I'm just going to go with the first thing so I don't have to edit the crap out of this thing trying to figure out something else. But the first thing that comes to mind is I loved Star Wars. There was an album that came out called a record album. I can probably find a picture of it and insert it here, especially if there are younger people watching who don't actually know what a record looks like. It was called The Story of Star Wars. And there was a picture of Darth Vader on one side and R2-D2 and C-3PO on the other side. And it told the story like it would do, like had a narrator and then would play actual audio from the movie. I absolutely love that thing. I would listen to it all the time, and it got broken one day. I did replace it. I don't know whatever happened to the replacement. But that is probably one thing I can think of that I would love to still have. And not just because it would be worth some money, because I'm sure it would, but just for that sentimental reason. So anyway, I'd love to say that was it. But here we go with Jimmy's Torment. This one is just for me. So if you've checked out the other channels, you're getting a bonus question right here. Aren't you lucky? If you had to skydive and free fall from 20,000 feet and could only pull the chute between 10,000 and 5,000 feet, when would you pull the cord and why? And if it didn't open up, how would you try to land to not get hurt? And of course, he had to add a little LOL in there. First of all, there is no way I am ever skydiving, ever bungee jumping. I am not the adventurous type. I'm not a thrill seeker. The only thrills I get are from reading horror stories or watching horror movies. So first of all, I would not be skydiving. However, it did say if you had to, and I'm not going to let Jimmy win by trying to get out of this question, but I don't really know anything about skydiving. Is 20,000 feet normal? Is opening your chute between 10 and 5,000 feet normal? I don't know anything about anything like that. Okay, if I had to skydive and free fall from 20,000 feet, I would definitely pull my chute at the first opportunity. So it'd have to be 10,000 because Jimmy said between 10,000 and 5,000. So I would pull it at the first possible moment just to make sure that I had plenty of time before I got too close to the ground. But if it didn't open, how would you try to land to not get hurt? I guess it would depend on where I was, because I would hope, now wait, if it didn't open, yeah, if it didn't open. So it didn't open, then landing in trees wouldn't help, because I've seen movies where people get their parachutes caught up in trees. That wouldn't help if the chute didn't open, because there would be nothing to catch on the trees. But I think I'd probably still go for that, because I think hitting those individual branches, I mean, unless I got speared right at the top. Okay, this is getting morbid. But I think the branches would slow me enough, I would hope, that I might not get hurt, but I really don't see a possibility of not getting hurt. Or at least he said killed. Oh no, he said not to not get hurt. I don't think I cannot get hurt falling from there. So yeah, I guess, I mean, I know water, if you hit water, unless you hit it like diving in, like slicing in, could also kill you for the impact. The ground could kill you. A rock could kill you. Probably the trees could kill me too. I know I'd definitely get hurt one way or the other. And I know Jimmy probably wants me to say something silly like I would like do that tuck and roll that I've seen like people do in movies when they're falling from a height, and then they tuck and roll like a little hedgehog. I don't know, Jimmy. I guess I'll aim for the trees if there are any around. If not, I'll tuck and roll. There. You've done it to me, Jimmy. But, just so you know, the next 2 weeks, I'm doing the questions. And I might just have to add extra ones on the, well, I'll do only to one, since Jimmy only did one question to me. On one of those 2 weeks, I'm going to come up with a question just for Jimmy. I'm not sure what it'll be, but I am doing the questions for the next 2 weeks, so get ready for that. But for this week, I am done. I've survived the torture that Jimmy wrought upon me, and didn't do it well, I'm sure, but I did it. And now I am going to tag Jenn and Steve, as usual, Mr. and Mrs. Chaos from Embracing Chaos with Jenn. I look forward to hearing their questions, as always, with just a smattering of that chaos bickering. You know, you've made me addicted to it, so, you know, you gotta give the audience what they want. Anyway, that does it for me. I hope you will give this video a like. I know it was probably longer than a typical tag because I get long-winded. And when I go to edit this, I'm going to think all of it is, not all of it, I'm going to think a lot of it's a gem. It's probably not. But if you stuck with me this long, I hope you'll give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't and you're looking for what I normally do on this channel, some weight loss recipes. And hit the notification bell so you are alerted to the next time I upload any sort of video. You can also follow me on Instagram. I will leave my handle. If I don't stop biting my tongue, I will leave my handle here. And you can also join me on Facebook. I have 2 groups over there. One is mine alone. I'm the sole admin on Recipes with Roy, obviously. And then I am the co-admin with Jennifer Lynn from the Jennifer Lynn channel and Bree Coleman from Balancing Life with Bree. We are the co-admins on Finding Our Way, WEIGH. And I will leave that icon here so you know you found the right place. And all of these links will be in the description box below, as well as the other channels that do either tags or WW and iTrack Bytes friendly content. Couldn't think of that word. All right, so enough rambling. That does it for me. I will see you next week with my questions. And until then, bye.